this exercise, we're going to utilize pelvic tilts, again, to reset by utilizing activation. And when we do these pelvic tilts with some cues that are going to help gently activate your lower abdominals, because we're starting to use deeper intrinsic muscles as we were designed to use as stabilizers to be the basis of the movement patterns that we enact over that, or with that rather. We start to release tensions in the body because we're using the body in the innate way it was designed for. So we're going to come on to the back with the knees bent and the feet flat on the floor, and keep your knees and your feet about hip width. So not real wide, and don't bring the legs together so that you have to hold them here, right? Settle them in a relatively comfortable hip distance position with your feet no more than 10 to 12 inches from your bottom, okay? So pelvic tilts are really what we call a sagittal plane movement, right? It's just in this plane of movement, right? We're not going side to side. We're not rotating in any way. We're not rotating, around the axis of our body. We're just doing this sagittal plane movement, posterior and anterior, posterior and anterior. Now, when we do these pelvic tilts, we are engaging, gently engaging the deeper core musculature, right? Which is connected to that root chakra, or rather the lower three, or the lower triangle of chakras, right? The pelvic floor or the root, the navel, or the space below your navel, which is sacral, and then right around and above the navel, which is that solar plexus. And so when we start to generate energy in this area through movement, it also kind of wakes up this area of the body that you don't necessarily have a connection with because you haven't been using it as well. You've been compensating with other muscles and not coming into your center where you have some of the greatest authenticity and innate power that you possess. So as we do these pelvic tilts, in both directions, you're going to think about lengthening through your tailbone. So as I go into the posterior tilt, I lengthen the tailbone as I curl it up, which brings the lumbar curve to the floor. Then I'm going to lengthen as I go into an anterior tilt, which lifts the lumbar curve. Now in each direction, again, there's a lengthening as I posteriorly tilt and curl, and there's a lengthening as I anteriorly tilt or arch. Now, as you exhale, let that begin your transition to your posterior tilt, curling the tailbone up. As you inhale and lengthen, let that transition you into your anterior tilt or into the arch. Exhale, curl and lengthen. Exhale, arch and lengthen. And as you continue to bring your focused awareness to your tailbone so that you are lengthening, you'll feel that there's this gentle activation, and there's probably a feeling of kind of movement and gurgling, maybe even in your low belly. There's this activation of musculature, and as you pull length through your tailbone, it might get actually a little bit of fatiguing because you haven't engaged in this way before. And so just enjoy that activation and that perhaps new sensation. And then after doing maybe a good handful, maybe 5, maybe somewhere between that and 10, just kind of whatever gives you more connection to sensation in this area, then relax the pelvis, okay? And notice you likely have a much greater awareness of your sacrum, the flat bone at the bottom of your spine, and its connection to the support beneath you, ultimately the earth. And now let your breath make its way all the way down to the pelvic floor, and enhancing your awareness of that energy in this part of your body that you are likely not as connected to when you're not activating these energies, when you're not in this movement. and notice how different that feels even when you sit up, and how your connection feels stronger through your sit bones.